What's going on, everybody? It's your girl, Christina Shiver, C Shiz, whatever you want to call me. And today I am back with another episode of the How to Pray podcast. Here on the How to Pray podcast, we talk about ways of overcoming pain, the obstacles of recovery, accepting our past, and yielding to our new life. Today I am blessed and highly favored to be interviewing my best friend, Danielle Evans of Michigan. Y'all, I'm so excited to get into what we're going to talk about today. Just a little disclaimer. There's already going to be a disclaimer in the beginning of this video, but I wanted to make it very apparent. We're going to be talking about a lot of heavy subjects, including but not limited to sexual assault, bullying, eating disorders, and self-harm. So if any of those objects are triggering to you, please skip this episode, and we'll see you guys next week. All right, y'all. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Let's go out and get it now. So nervous, deep inside. So worth it. Don't give up this time. Don't back down. Don't be afraid. Tell your heart to take a leap of faith and start today.
What's going on, Danielle? How you doing today? Ew, I don't like saying that. What's going on, Danny? How you doing today?
I know everybody is like, I don't like using your full name. I'm like, okay, then just call me Danny, whatever. But I'm good.
That's good. That's good. Thank you so much for coming on to the How to Pray podcast. All right. So, where do we want to start today? Let's tell them maybe the most important thing right now. I hear that you're a musician.
Yes.
A little bit
You
of
can see the
a
guitar
vocalist
in the
out
back.
here.
Vocalist, we love that. Yes, as you can see from the guitar in right here. Yeah, I've been playing. My first instrument ever was a clarinet, out of all things.
Clarinet player too.
Oh yeah,
Will be
but
good.
you know, sometimes I forget that. I honestly do. I remember annoying the heck out of my parents out of it. Squeak, squeak, squeak. 9 o'clock at night. Try and play a note.
Yeah.
Good times, good times. But my first ever instrument was a clarinet, and I picked that up at 12. I started slowly picking up the guitar. Didn't really take it seriously. I was like, oh, this thing's cool. Just strum it. It plays music. And then I just gave up on it until around 14, almost 15. I went back to it. And I'm like, hey, why don't I give this a try again? And I loved it. And then I just started picking up more instruments. So after that, I got this beauty. It is a performance guitar, as I like to call it. It is my pride and joy. I love it. And then I started picking up piano, violin, banjo, mandolin, and yeah, a lot of other instruments. Music was a big part of my journey. It still is. And now over the years, I have gotten recording equipment. I've learned how to produce my own music and record and do harmonies and all that stuff. So music has been a very big part of my life, and I've taken it very seriously, especially over the last couple of years. I have released 2 EPs, a bunch of singles, a bunch of covers. My first... Yes, all of my stuff is down below. I originally started on YouTube and SoundCloud, but now I have managed to, be my own label with the help of my distributor, and I'm on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, YouTube Music, all of the major platforms. So I'm very blessed and grateful to be doing it. So yeah, I'm now an independent artist. I do everything all by myself. And yeah, new music is definitely going to be a big thing this year for me. So I will just say this here. First single will be out, I'm hoping, towards the beginning of April. I haven't really set a date yet, but I am releasing my first ever album this year. So I'm very,
So by the time
very
y'all are
excited.
hearing this, it would be released. So make sure
Yeah,
you guys check it out. Again, everything's going to be linked down below. So please make sure you give my girl a follow, like, subscribe, comment, everything that you possibly can. Stream, stream, stream. She's an
it
amazing
helps.
musician, amazing vocalist, amazing player. I love her dearly. And I'm not just saying that because she's one of my best friends. She is truly talented. And I want you guys all to just go and share and bask in her amazing presence of music.
I love you.
You too.
So yeah, music has just been a big, 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 huge, humongous portion of my life.
All right. And what
In
would
more
you
ways than
what
people
have
think.
you noticed in yourself today that you can say is the result of you getting into music at a young age? How would you say
Really,
Danny is today?
really, really, it was my main source of coping back in the day. It was something that I clinged on to when I needed it the most and when I felt like no one was there or I was so alone. Music was always the one thing that was there. Rather, it was listening to music, um, trying to write songs at the time, playing guitar, learning all these instruments. It was mainly a big, big, big part of my life with coping with depression and anxiety and PTSD and dealing with a lot of trauma that we're going to be getting into. And it's just, it affects me now because I know how to cope with music. And it's really the one thing that, if I'm having an off day or my anxiety is up, music is always gonna be there. It's like my number one passion, but at the same time, it's the thing that I know I could go to when needed.
Awesome. That is awesome. It's always great to have that source of happiness and joy and stability that you can turn to, especially in times of crisis and needs. And when we go through something very traumatic and like heart wrenching, it's always nice to have that outlet, that source of like, I feel whole again. And I'm getting
Yeah.
that that's what music means to you, is it makes you feel whole. And I
Mm.
want to talk a little bit more about when you started music. How did you feel in that moment before you even picked up the guitar, before you even picked up a clarinet, before you even started singing? How did Danny feel? What was Danny going through that made her feel like she needed to turn to that source of happiness and stability?
Ooh, little Danny. Ugh. Um. Ugh. Ugh. Little Danny was. She didn't know who she was.
Hmm.
Like, she had no identity.
Hmm.
She was just trying to survive in the world. And music was just, at first, I was like, you know, it's music. What is music gonna do? But the more that I started playing and listening, it was, I felt, how do I put this? I felt like I could drown out everything. What everybody was saying or talking or doing, I felt like myself again. Like everything was okay when playing music. And little Danny, ugh, just thinking about her, just like, girl, you've been through a lot. Like, if I could go back and look at myself 10, 12 years ago, I would give her the biggest hug, honestly. Because little Danny didn't know if she was gonna even survive with everything going on.
And what was going on during that time?
Bullying, and then past trauma, which when I was younger, 6, 7, I was sexually assaulted by my biological father, and I blacked out that huge trauma for years on end, and I was completely silent. I for whatever I was feeling, I blocked it out. I forced myself to forget about that for years until I finally spoke up. And right when I spoke up about it, it was when I was halfway through middle school. And it was a really, really rough time. Because I was over here trying to, I guess, find myself being a young teenager. You know how we try to find ourselves and see if we fit in somewhere, and it's all socially awkward and all that. I didn't get that. And I never did, even throughout high school. So.
And how often do you relive these experiences in trauma?
Right now, today, 16 years later, still going to therapy. I've been in and out of therapy for years. But I've been with my current therapist for almost 3 years now, and she's helped me tremendously. And even with the little things that I do now, it all leads back to the trauma, and I'm learning that. And I would say compared to 2 years ago, from when I first started therapy again to now, I would say every other week, maybe. It just really depends on the day, the time, what situation I'm in. If I'm by myself or if I'm with others, it really just depends. Because 16 years later, I am still healing from this almost 2 decades, which is kind of crazy if you ask me. But I mean, healing takes time, and I'm learning that in a good way.
I get that. And healing looks different for everybody. There are people that can get over it in a month, and there are people that will never get over it. And there are people that take 10 years, 12 years, 16 to get through it to see what the outside looks like, as opposed to remaining in that bubble that our traumatic experiences can force us into. And I'm not speaking for you, so correct me if I'm wrong, but when you were sexually assaulted, I can imagine that you were in a bubble. You were separated, isolated, without even physically being isolated or separated from other people. You were just mentally there. You didn't think people would get it. You didn't think people would understand. And that in itself, for a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old to be going through, that in itself is traumatic. Because feeling
Mhm.
alone is traumatic. Being
Yeah.
depressed, being anxious, being scared, being all those emotions is traumatic, let alone the actual experience itself. And I am
Mhm.
sorry from the bottom of my heart that you had to go through that experience. And I'm so happy that you are now in this healing process. And I see the progression of over the years because I already knew your story a little bit.
Mhm.
But I am really glad to see you through this journey of healing. And it may get bumpy sometimes, it may be rough some days. You might want to give up sometimes, but you overcome 100% of your bad days. And that's important to remember whenever you are feeling low, whenever you are feeling afraid, whenever you feel that isolation like before. Just remember that you can overcome this just how you did the day before. And I'm just so proud to know you. I'm proud to be a friend of yours, and I'm proud that you're here today. So now that my spiel is over, I want to kind of go back past the first piece of trauma and go towards the second piece of trauma when you were talking about the bullying. And I kind of wanted to
Mhm.
see and hear, what did that look like for you? What were you feeling during that time? And what did you do to cope during that time?
Yeah. So bullying started, it honestly started around elementary school, but it didn't really get bad until middle school, high school.
Hmm.
So, of course, the elementary, name calling, picking on, nobody wanting to do anything with me, yada yada. It's elementary school. Middle school, um, I was always the outsider, as everybody says. I was the nobody. I was the one with the big bulky glasses and the hearing aids and everything because I am deaf in my right ear and have about 60% left hearing in my left. So, I should be wearing my hearing aids, but my ears have gotten too big for them. So, that's a whole nother story in itself. But I am half deaf and I have really, 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 really bad eyesight. When I was born, I was in stage 5 of retinal detachment because I was premature. I was born at 23 and a half weeks. 1 pound, 3 ounces, 11 inches long, could fit me in the palm of your hand, all that. I was a preemie and I had a lot of health issues, and the eyes and the ears are the main one. And so big bulky glasses, hearing aids. I was the one that everybody could, pick on and talk about and all that. And I didn't really know how to take that at the time because I was sensitive and I wasn't great with my emotions, my feelings. I wasn't self-aware and tuned in with myself like I am now back in the day. I was just trying to find a person to be friends with honestly, and every single time I would just get manipulated and used and stabbed in the back. And no 12-year-old, no 12, 13, 14-year-old wants to go through that. They don't know how to cope with that. I sure as heck didn't. And the rumors started, which I don't even know what half of the rumors were. I can't even remember what they were. But it was just complete nonsense. And I just remember coming home every single night and just crying my eyes out,
Hmm.
begging my parents not. I don't want to go to school, Ma. Don't let me go back there. I don't want to go there. And My parents tried everything they could. They loved me, they cared for me, they weren't blindsided like some parents are nowadays with their children and bullying. But my school district was the one that was blindsided and didn't care, if I'm honest. Ugh. Yeah.
That's what's frustrating is that kids are given there's multitudes of resources out there for children, but yet when we don't have people that genuinely care working in those resources become null. So yes, we have a full school system that was built to protect and teach, but when we don't have people that genuinely care about every individual that they're supposed to protect and teach, then the mission, the objective, it means nothing. It's irrelevant. And it's so frustrating when you hear these stories that people continue to get bullied, even to today's date.
This day, yeah.
People are still getting bullied, and that's because they're different. And I don't know when the world will ever realize that being different does not mean being stupid, does not mean being dumb. You do not always have to be the outcast because you're different. Being different
Exactly.
is the goal. Being different is the objective. You want to be
And
outside of the realm of normal that other people see, and you want to progress in your own light. When we all become to fall in the same normality and same consistent behaviors and patterns and character traits, we we lose ourselves even more. When we're thinking that we're trying to find ourselves, when we think that we're trying to overcome an obstacle in our life by um, conforming to the norms, we're doing ourselves a disservice because now we're falling in line with the next person in front of us and behind us, as opposed to being the one to step outside and lead that line. We got to be more of a leader, and it's scary for some people. It's terrifying to be the outcast. It's terrifying to be the different one, and that's why it's easier to conform to normal or conform to what society deems as normal because I rather sleep good at night knowing that the world doesn't hate me, doesn't look at me differently, than to wake up every morning with a new trial or tribulation. But the thing is, we got to overcome that. We can overcome that, but we can't do that by ourselves. We have to do that as a society. We got to stop with the narrative that being different is being weird and being weird is being different. And normal is how everybody is together and doing the same things, thinking the same way. Why conform to being normal when there's so much more out there in the world? When you do that, you're cutting all the blessings that God has put in front of you. And I don't want to make this a spiritual battle, but you have to really put out in perspective that you were created for a different purpose than your neighbor was. So you cannot continue to rely on your neighbor. And that's something I'm still figuring out for myself. What I tend to do is I tend to go to the next person and tend to ask them their opinion and ask them to tell me to guide me into the next direction as opposed to just trying to figure it out myself or do something different outside of what I normally would do to figure out who I truly am because I'm afraid of being different because society has made me afraid of being different.
being different. I'm still learning that myself. It's taken me years to be able to tell myself that being different is not a bad thing.
Right.
Being different is a good thing. Nobody likes normal, as I tell myself. Normal is boring.
Mm-hmm.
And I still struggle with that from time to time, and I have to catch myself. Hey, no, be you. There's only one you in this world. It's taken so long for me to be able to tell myself that being different is okay.
Did it ever get better for you with the whole bullying, or did this continue all the way through graduation? Was there ever a moment where things kind of stopped, or like the amount of bullying decreased, or was this a case where it just continued?
It continued.
Hmm.
It continued and it continued, and it just got so much worse. I remember when I came back for 8th grade, because I was homeschooled for 7th grade because of the past trauma and everything, and it was just better for me to be homeschooled that year. But I came back for 8th grade, and the bullying was still the same. A lot of so-called friends used me that year. I remember that. But I remember walking out of the doors, 8th grade, when summer was last day of school. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, new school year. I want a break. Nobody really knows me going into the high school, like the sophomores, juniors, or seniors. Nobody really knows me, so maybe it'll be a change. Nuh-uh. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. It did not happen. It got worse. And it came to the point where the past trauma and everything started to come back. Even with therapy, it was still in the back of my head, and I just could not stop thinking about it. I was having flashbacks and nightmares where I couldn't even sleep, insomnia. The past and the bullying mixed together and made its own little circle. So it still is really hard to tell what was more worse, because they were balancing each other out so much.
Hmm.
And it just, that 2000, the end of 2014 to mid 2018, those 4-ish years, I believe, were the worst years of my life. And I will always, 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 always say that, because they truly, truly were. And it was when I just lost myself, honestly.
And what did that look like?
Very dark. Very, 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 very dark. Like, if I could go back and look at past me, not little Danny, but teenage Danny, I would not know who she is. I would just be staring at a blank canvas pretty well much.
Hmm.
She was insecure. She was lost. She was isolated. She was trying too hard for all the wrong reasons. Hanging out with god-awful people, but she didn't care because she just wanted to find a way to fit in.
Hmm.
I lost myself, and I really, really lost touch with my faith
Hmm.
as well. And I wanted to feel something throughout everything I was doing, but I was so out of my body and so numb that nothing worked at
Hmm.
all. Mm-hmm.
And you said that was a hard time to hold on to your faith. Was that the hardest time that you could hold on to your faith? Like when you feel like you lost everything and you were just at your breaking point?
Mm-hmm.
And what did the breaking point look like for you?
Breaking point. it really started when I started harming myself.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing everything I could to just destroy myself. It was a lot of self-hate and just, I guess, I hated myself. I hated my past. It was a lot. And I just wanted to destroy myself, honestly. Rather, it was cutting or starving myself for days on end, lying about eating and skipping lunches, and I was just ready to just give up. And I did try to give up at one point. It was several weeks after I started starving myself and all that. I just remember just screaming in my head, why have you, screaming at God, why have you let this happen? Why have you abandoned me? Because every single night I cried myself to sleep, and I would just honestly just beg God to take the pain away
Mm-hmm.
and not let me wake up that next morning. So I really just, that was my breaking point when I really felt abandoned by God.
And what do you what did you do? What what was the driving force, the motivation? Why why are you here today? How are you here today?
What was it? One of my musician friends, her name was Nicole. She and her sisters had come out with a new song. I forget the name of it now. Now I can't even think about it. But I listened to the song at first, thinking it was nothing. Oh, okay. Came back a couple days later, and she was at the time giving me like encouragement to like, hey, God's still here. She was trying to like get it in my head and
Mm-hmm.
like lead me towards a path
Mm-hmm.
of forgiveness and all that, because I had so much on me, like so many sins and so many burdens that I felt. And she was like trying to like itch closer to like, I guess, kind of get me towards the light,
Mm-hmm.
as I'm gonna call it. And I remember going back to that song and reading what testaments that she sent me, and I just remember just feeling something wash over me. I honestly, to this day, can't even describe what it was still. And I just remember after that feeling, I broke.
Mm-hmm.
I broke, and thankfully I was home alone, because I don't think anybody would have wanted to walk in on me sobbing and just letting everything that I've been holding on to for years just out. And I just remember falling down to my knees and just sobbing like ugly sobbing, and just begging for God's forgiveness, and I needed Him because I was going on an even more destructive path than I was if I didn't have Him. And I just remember, after I calmed down a little bit, I will always remember this. It still gives me chills. I just remember feeling somebody's arms from behind just like wrap around my shoulders. And I may seem crazy, but I just remember hearing a faint voice in my head saying, "I'm right here. It is okay. I am here." That still gives me chills. Ugh. I don't want to like say, "Oh, that was God's voice" or whatever, but after that night, it took, I'm not going to say after that my faith was restored and I was all happy again. No, it took months. It took so much talking about to my old church friends, youth group, reading again, itching my way to get back into faith and believing and knowing in my heart and in my head that He will always be there. It took a long journey to get back into faith. It wasn't just a straight, "Oh, this happened." No. I itched my way back. I itched my way back into my faith and the recovery process as well. Recovery and faith kind of just like blended itself in to one thing. So,
And so, what does the healing process now look like for you?
healing process now. A lot of prayer. Prayer is the one big thing in my life that is the key to me. Having a couple minutes in my daily life to get into I call it my circle of control. And I really get in touch with myself and I get in touch with the Lord. Like, "Lord, what do you have for me today? How am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? Guide me through this, through myself and through the Lord." Writing, journaling as well. The healing, I've done a lot of journaling and talking with God. That has been a big thing as well. That has helped. Used to go to church, so at the time, church helped, and then unfortunate circumstances happened. So, but even if I don't go to church, I'll always believe. I always have that faith. So outside of church, prayer, journaling, getting in touch with myself and getting in touch with God, talking with Him, talking with others about the healing and my faith as well. I sometimes like doing. It mainly just depends on who I'm talking to and what situation is going on or where I'm at in life. If I'm, comfortable to talk about it or not. So it really depends. But those are the healing strategies now that I do a lot. And it all also comes back to music as well. Because I put a lot of my feelings and emotions and faith towards the wonderful Lord. So it all also comes back to music as well. I'm really passionate and drawn towards feelings and emotions and my faith and writing about that and everything.
That's awesome. And I just kind of wanted to go back on something that you said when you were talking about how you felt a presence over you and how you heard a voice. And I just want to go out there and say that was God. You know, your friend Nicole, bless her heart for planting seeds in your head and in your soul that things will be okay and that you just need to turn to the Lord and you just need to focus on that relationship with God, because that's where a lot of churches nowadays have messed up the message. It's all nowadays it's all about the religion aspect, the religious aspect of things, and not the relationship with God, with Christ. And that looks different for everybody. Okay, where somebody in church may be sitting down the entire time, and another person might be running around, or another person might be falling onto the floor, or another person might be singing, or another person might be dancing. Faith looks different for everybody. The relationship with Christ is different for everybody. And it's important that we remember that. And I'm not trying to push my religion and my faith down anybody's throat, but I have to speak what I know is true. And there have been times where I've had nothing but God moments where it's where you are completely at ground zero and you think that nothing else is going to overcome or nothing else good is going to happen or nothing's going to turn out of this. Then God comes in and he shows you that he is there and that he is light and that you can trust him and that he is stability, that he is your therapist, that he is your holder, he is your father. He is everything that you need to believe in and more. And it's phenomenal and fantastic. And I am so blessed that you are here today to share your story. And I'm so grateful for you to come on here and share your story, because it is hard to relive those traumas. It is hard to relive that moment in life where you felt like giving up and things just did not work out in your favor. But then you turn around and you see that God is still standing right beside you. There is this story that sticks with me to this day, and it was in some book by some author. I'm terrible when it comes to like quoting things, so forgive me. But if you know this story, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And there's this lady who is walking alongside the beach, and she looks down and she sees two sets of footprints next to her, but it's just her. And she's walking and she's just living her life, being happy, being gracious. And then one day she has a bad day and it's thundering and she's walking and she only sees one set of footprints. And then she questions and she says, God, why did you leave me now on the days that I need you most? And he says to her, my child, those moments where you only saw one set of footprints, that was me carrying you. And that story will always stick with me to this day. It is one of those moments where we forget that there is somebody out there looking after us and somebody out there that loves us unconditionally. Unconditionally. Where man says, I love you, but God says, I love you, and there is no but when it comes to God. And whenever we feel that we are down or we are out for the count or where we can't get back up or where we feel like the only option is to give up and to go be with Christ, if it is not in his will, it will not be in the way. And the only thing that we have to remember is that bad does happen, yes. Evil is on this earth, yes. We were given free will at birth. So that is what comes with the territory. But everything evil, everything twisted, everything foul is not from God. It is not from Christ. It is not of Christ. For he is good in all things. And again, I am not trying to shove a religion down your throat. I am just simply speaking about my relationship with Christ, because there have been moments where I felt like everything was done. I felt like giving up. I felt like there was no good left in this world, and I felt like I was nothing, absolutely nothing. And God reminded me of my worth. God put people in my life to remind me of my worth. And now I am here today speaking to you, a strong believer, a strong individual, a beautiful musician, and a beautiful human being. And I am just blessed beyond measures to even say that I woke up this morning. And I make sure that it is known. I will scream it from the rooftops that I am happy that I live with Christ. I am happy that I follow the direction that Christ puts me in. And I will never take that for granted. I will never, there will be moments where I make mistakes. I am human. I come from sin. But there are also moments where I will repent, where I will ask for forgiveness. But the one thing we have to remember when it comes to forgiveness is that it is also a process. We are not expected to wake up and forgive those people that wronged us in life. We are not expected to go talk to that person that wronged us in life, but we are expected to forgive. Christ forgives us every day that we live on this earth. And it is important and an imperative that when you live with hatred in your heart, the only thing that can come from it is evil. So I'm talking to my listeners back at home. Remember that you are not alone. Remember that you are forever with someone who loves you, who cares for you, who sees you, who hears you, every cry, every scream, every doubt that you may have. He is there to wash that away. And it's important that we remember that, because without him, we can't make it to the next day.
Mm-mm.
That's pretty much what I
Mm-mm.
got. So I wanted to ask.
Freaking men.
I wanted to just say that because I feel like there are people out there who
Who
want to
needs
be
to hear
believers,
that?
but they're tiptoeing on that line because they don't know if they can fully take that plunge and have that leap of faith, or if they can fully put all their trust and love into one being. When in actuality, that's what God does to us every day. You know,
You
so
may not know
it's
it, you may
it's
not
just
see it.
important for us to remember that. You
Yeah.
know, so I want to ask you, you know, we spoke a lot about traumatic events, eating disorders, self harm, suicidal thoughts and tendencies, and sexual assault. And I just want to know, can you define your faith now? Can you figure out who you are as a believer today?
Yeah. I can 100%. Yeah. I am no longer ashamed of myself. I no longer feel that self-hatred. I I am filled with such joy now, as I like to say. I mean, we all have our good and bad days.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, it's gonna come along with life. But throughout those bad days, I cling on to the Lord more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't go straight into the negativity or the thoughts that come creeping in, whatever kinds of thoughts may come up. I know it's not true.
Mm-hmm.
And my faith now is so much stronger than it was 5 or 6 years ago. 5 or 6 years ago, I couldn't. It was out the window. Yeeted a million miles. It was not existent is the word. And I love the Lord. And I will just say that now. I can say that. I love the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
He has done great things in my life, gave me amazing opportunities that I've gotten to see with my own eyes. And the things that he does for me, not only for myself, but for my family, every single day, he just continues to amaze me. And even with my music, I wanna praise him. I wanna give him his all. And my faith is just, it means so much to me now. It means more to me than it ever has. And I could just go on and on and on and on and on.
No, I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh, y'all, it really is a good feeling when you know that there is somebody out there that loves you unconditionally. It really is a
Yes.
good feeling.
Yes.
And all I can say is whether or not you are a believer, that is completely up to you. But always remember that there is good out there in the world, that there are people that genuinely care for you out there in the world, that you are worthy, that you are more than your past, that you are more than your trauma, that you are more than those that did you wrong, that you are more than you ever would imagine. Your value on this earth is priceless because you are one of a kind. There will never be another Danielle Evans. There will never be another Christina Shivers. There will never be another you. So you have to
Mm-mm.
be the best you possibly can be. And whether that's a
Make it
walk of
count.
life with Christ or not, as long as you are a good person at the end of the day, and you love and you respect your neighbor, and you care for yourself the way that you want other people to care for you, and you know your worth and you know your value in this world, you will succeed. You will be better than you could imagine. You will be better than those that doubted you. You will be better than those that came before you. You will be better than those that are ahead of you because you are you, and that is what's important.
There is
Nobody can
only
be you. Nobody can take
one you.
from you. Nobody
There's
should
only
take from you. Do not
you.
allow your spirit to be damaged by the next person that tries to talk you down.
Exactly.
Whenever you come up to somebody and they aren't talking to you the right way, remove yourself from that situation immediately. Do not give them the benefit of the doubt. Do not give them second chances. Remove yourself from that. People will show you who you are as long as you listen.
Amen.
And that, ladies and gentlemen,
Amen.
that that's it. That's what the
Yeah,
objective is today. Is to
exactly.
find your worth in self. And if you're a believer, to find your worth in Christ. Because
Exactly.
it's there.
It is. It
It's
really
just
is.
waiting for you to claim it.
And I wish I could go back and tell my younger self that. But honestly, I'm moving forward with life. But if I could go back and tell her that, hey, things may be absolutely horrible, and you're doing all these wrong things, and you feel so abandoned by God, and you just feel so low and so ready to give up. Don't. Keep fighting. Because through the darkness, there is always light.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're ready to come towards that light again,
Mm-hmm.
that every obstacle that you face, that light is always going to be there. He is always going to be there for you,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what. And being yourself, it is okay to be you. Don't try to blend in with everybody. Don't try to fit in for all the wrong reasons. No, just be you. Like you said, there's only one you. Make it count. Because at the end of the day, you matter. You are worth so much more than you think. I could start going on a rant like you're doing. I could just start like going, just start preaching, get my mic out. I just start screaming into the laptop. Just
Oh my
honestly.
gosh. Do you have any final thoughts for the people?
If you're struggling, I will say this. I was going to take a drink of my coffee, but that will wait. If you're struggling, if you feel alone, if you feel like you don't matter, that you're not worthy of anything, erase all that negative and just keep fighting. Things do get better. You know, people used to tell me that at a young age, and I'd just be like, yeah, whatever. But no, with everything that I've gone through, things do get better. So if you are struggling right now, don't do it alone. It may be hard, it may be scary, it may be terrifying. But speak out and don't be silent. Because I've been silent and isolated for 16 years of my life. And hearing all these stories now in the media and everything, I want to encourage and let everyone see that things do get better, and staying silent is never the answer. Never the answer.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, before we close out, I was wondering
Oh
if
God.
somebody can sing for us before we leave. And you know the song that I'm talking about. Yes, ma'am. We're going to have Danielle live sing her song, Guiding Me Back Home.
I gotta get my capo. Hold on. Technical difficulties.
We'll wait while she gets things up. I kind of put her on the spot. But while she's getting things ready, you guys can follow her on Instagram. I'll link that down below. You can follow her on Twitter. I'll also link that down below. Make sure you check out her EPs. Make sure you follow her on all her socials and stream all of her songs because they are phenomenal. They're amazing, as you are about to witness firsthand. All right.
So a little backstory before for the viewers and the ear listeners. This song, Guide Me Back Home, it was really the first serious song that I wrote. And I wrote it back in 2015. I want to say it's been so long, honestly. But this song was shortly after I started regaining my faith and going back into the Lord and everything, and I was kind of stuck in a rut, you know, when you get into the recovery process and the faith process and all that, and you kind of get stuck. I was in one of those, and I didn't really know what to do. What I did was I just got out my guitar. At the time, it wasn't this guitar. It was a smaller guitar that I have, but not the point. It was just more of a way to get out my feelings and how I felt. And after I wrote the song, I shoved it in the closet. And I was thinking, oh, no one's going to hear this. No one's going to like this. I'm just going to leave it here. Until 2017 came along, and I finally decided to post a video on social media of me singing it, and everybody loved it. And took me by surprise. So 2019 rolls around, and I get the song back. And at the thought in my head, why don't I record this? So I recorded it, and I put it on my first EP, Simply Me. And for you, Shivers and everybody else to know I am doing a remake of this song. So you'll have a better quality version of Guide Me Back Home, because when I released Simply Me, I was just starting out in recording and producing, and I still kind of cringe at the production of it. But I love the song. It holds a very deep meaning in my heart, and I know a lot of others love this. So I'm gonna shush and sing the song called Guide Me Back Home. Let's hope I don't forget the words, because I haven't sung this in a while. Oh, down there, I was all alone, all out of hope. All I wanted was to be in the sky with you. Oh, you found me on my knees, and I was saying, Lord, please save me. I don't want to fight this anymore, and I couldn't keep closing the door on everything and everyone. Lord, just please guide me back home. All 3 years later, you've helped me overcome all the things that came my way. All the battles, all the fights, all the endless sleepless nights, and I can't praise you enough. You picked me up, you brushed me off, you showed me I was loved, and I can finally say I'm not the person that I was. Ooh, that I was. Oh, you found me on my knees, and I was saying, Lord, oh Lord, please save me. I don't want to fight this anymore. I can't get everything in life we want. Oh, just please guide me back home. You have me and you show me I was strong enough to fight this battle. Your love, this love was all I need. Found my survival. And when I feel like I'm about to fall, you're right there when I fall. Remind me of love. You held me on my knees, and I was saying, Lord, oh Lord, please save me. I didn't want to fight this anymore. I couldn't keep closing the door on everything and everyone. I don't want to be the person I become. I always knew you were the one. I didn't know if I would make it, and now I can finally say it. Thank you, Lord, for everything. You'll always be my number one. Guide me back home. Ooh, yeah.
beautiful. And where can the people find you?
Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, YouTube Music, Amazon Music. It's my name, Danielle Evans. So yeah, you can listen to my covers and originals, and my new music is gonna be out and it's posted. So very excited.
Oh, so excited. Thank you so much, Danny, for coming on here and telling us your story. It was great. It was amazing. I know that the people will love you, and I know that I love you even more. You are the strongest person that I've ever met, and I really appreciate you coming on here and proving that to the world. Thank you so much. And y'all, if you haven't noticed, we're kind of rocking the same kind of tees here. Help Somebody Today merch is still available in my store. Link is going to be in the bio of my social medias, which is Instagram Christina Shivers, Twitter Tina_Shivers. Link in bio. Grab some merch. All the proceeds go to Stand Up for Kids, which is a foundation in Georgia that is to fight homelessness in youth and young adults. So y'all, please make sure you guys go cop some merch and
it is fire,
send me a screenshot of when you
for
do,
good
and
cause.
we'll have a conversation. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Keep hope alive. You are somebody, and don't forget to keep doing it for the fans. All right, y'all. Bye.
Let's go out and get it now. So nervous, deep inside, so worth it. Don't give up this time. Don't back down. Don't be afraid. Tell your heart to take a leap of faith and start today.